Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be going over a very popular topic, one that was requested over my London system videos. Let's go ahead and take a look at London versus King's Indian. One of the biggest advice I can give you is whenever you are playing your London system and you're playing against King's Indian defense, go ahead and go queenside. A lot of people may not be sure which way you should be attacking. I like to treat it as if I'm playing the white side of a King's Indian. And well, what do you do in the white side of King's Indian? You go queenside. So you're going to be seeing a very nice game with Boris Spassky versus Bukik. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And the idea is just that. Let's go queenside with our attack. Here we go. We start with d4, knight f6, knight f3, g6. Here's saying we're going to be going for our King's Indian defense. Bishop f4, London system, here we go. Bishop g7, pawn to e3, castles, and here, bishop to e2. This is a very good move to play. Here, people will make the mistake of playing bishop to d3. And the reason why this is not as good is because if you do this, later on, Black's idea is to play d6 and e5 here. And well, when this happens, this is going to be very annoying because they might get a free tempo and get a pawn fork to attack the bishop and the knight. That's why the bishop in the London system videos, or the London system lines, are going to go ahead and go to e2 here. Another popular move that you could play here is something like pawn to c4 to grab extra space. Typically, we do go c3 here, but because Black is not really challenging us, well, why not grab the extra space? And again, we're going for queenside, so let's make sure that we push and try to attack as soon as possible over there. All right, bishop e2 gets played, pawn to d6, castles, knight b to d7, and here you can see Black is playing for this e5 push. I would say here I am not too afraid of this idea. In fact, I encourage it. By playing e5, they typically do make weak squares, and I'll be going over quite a few more videos about talking about major weaknesses in these ones. I want you to go ahead and enjoy this one and think about the main idea. Go queenside when you are attacking against the King's Indian defense. All right, h3 got played. A nice little move here. What's this move do? Well, Black might be looking to play knight to h5 and play e5 here, and the bishop could get trapped. So here, h3, the bishop just retreats back to h2 over here. Queen to e8, and well, let's go for that extra space, pawn to c4. Remember, we're going queenside here. Here particularly, we see that the c7 pawn got weak, or the square in general. Pawn to e5 gets played, and again, I'm very happy to see this. Here, Black, although is trying to do this queen e8 plan and play e5, well, it's just going to create a lot of weaknesses over here on the queen side, especially because there's nothing going on over here. All we got to do is repulse the attack or stop the attack, and we're just going to be getting a good game. Bishop to h2. This is one that I disagree with here. I typically like to play pawn takes on e5, and they typically will take back with the pawn here, and this is what I want here. Why would I choose to make the trade here? Well, the reason why I choose to make the trade is because it creates open files. Remember, Black's going for a kingside attack, so we want to open up the center. By opening up the center, it gives us better chances to attack on the queen side and maybe even attack in the center, especially if their attack starts to go well. So, just by opening up the center, we're giving ourselves a little bit of extra breathing room and giving us more attacking chances. Remember, Black is going kingside, so they typically want to keep the center closed. All right, so bishop to h2 got played this game. Queen to e7, knight c3, pawn to e4. Here, Black starts with his bind, and well, e4 is a good square. It's going to kick our very good knight away, which is defending h2. But you can see here with our bishop, well, we don't have too much to worry about over here. Knight d2 gets played, putting pressure on the e4 pawn. Black plays rook to e8. And here, well, as I mentioned earlier, c7 was the weakness, and knight to b5 gets played. Here, Spassky has a very cool idea in mind. Well, one of the best ways to defend here was queen to d8. And here, well, what's the theoretical push that we try to get in a King's Indian defense if we try to play for white? Hopefully you can see the move here. White to move. What do you play? Well, if you're not a King's Indian player, this move might be a little bit hard to find. With that being said, we mentioned how c7 was the weakness, and we mentioned that we're trying to open up the queen side over here. So the theoretical push, the pawn trade we want to make, pawn to c5 here, and this is a beautiful move. Obviously, taking on c5 right away is just a bad idea. Here, there's a few winning moves here. Knight takes on c7, forking the rooks, and you've opened up the queen side, so the king side attack will not be coming anytime soon. Or you can be mean to just like the computer and play bishop takes on c7. The queen's looking a little trapped here. Queen to e7, bishop to d6, queen back, and then d takes on c5, and you can see that white is just in control of this, and there really is no good way to lose the rook here anyways. All right, back to the game. c5 got played. Black went ahead and played pawn to a6, And now another beautiful idea here. C takes on d6. Remember, attack on the queen side. Open it up. It's okay to even lose a piece here because look at black's pieces. All of them are not very well placed, and well, they're all basically asleep here. So by giving up a piece here, we're going to get the rest of our pieces very, very active and plenty of weak squares that we can attack. Pawn takes on c7. We got this nice pawn that's penetrated over here. Queen to e7, bishop takes on b5, bishop to f8, and here, well, our pieces just get better and better. Knight c4. Look at these juicy squares that we are just all controlling here. In fact, if you give this to a person and say who's better in the position, I guarantee most people here are going to be saying white is better. And I guarantee you most people won't even realize that, well, white is the one that's down a piece. It's all about activity, folks. So, okay, here we go. Queen e6 attacking the knight. Queen c2, let's just keep developing. Queen to d5 attacking the bishop. Simple chess, expand on the queen side. Pawn to a4. Here, this is just a nice bind game where white slowly just pushes black off the board. Rook to e6, trying to get some activity. Rook f to c1. Again, all of white's pieces are just at their maximum. It doesn't even feel like we're down a piece here. Knight to e8, trying to put pressure on the c7 pawn. It's already defended. Queen c3 here. Here there's nice ideas about pushing forward. And again, there's just so many weaknesses around here. White can just slowly push them back. Knight back to f6. Really, black has nothing better than to kind of move back and forth. So let's just keep improving our pieces. Knight to e5 here. Knight to b6. Knight back to c4 here. This is a very good knight. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Of course, black says, let's make some trades, but let's do it on my terms. So knight f to d7 gets played. Queen to b3 here. Rook to f6. Here again, black's best idea is to try to go for kingside attack. But here white is just so solid, so it's very hard to put pressure on them, if at all. And here an interesting move. Bishop takes on d7. Maybe not the best move here. Here instead, pushing forward with a5 was best. Remember, push on the queen side. Here we'd be more than happy for a trade, because after this, bishop takes on c4, and you can see that, well, things are just getting very active over here, and we have a little bit more pressure on the f7 pawn here too. All right, bishop back to d7, another way to move forward. Knight takes on d7, queen to b5. Again, white's more than happy to make this trade, and well, black just goes ahead and plays queen f5. What happens if they did trade? Chaos would ensue. After queen takes, pawn takes, now we see the a files opened up, and well, black has nothing better than to just trade. Rook takes, and then now you see the idea. Here the rook will be going to a8, and look at these pieces. They just can't move anywhere. They're just binded, and black really has no good way to stop rook a8, and of course this pawn will probably be queening pretty soon here. All right, back to the game. Queen f5, trying to put pressure on f2. Not to worry. Nice and simple chess here. Bishop to g3, rook to a6, pawn to d5, queen f6, pawn to a5. Here it looks like white found the right idea now. Pawn h5, pawn to b4, pawn to h4. That's okay. Here, even though they're trying to grab some extra squares here, they are going to be making their king side a little bit weaker here. And bishop h2 plus this rook is going to have a hard time sliding back over here. Queen to f5, rook f to d1. Here, it's typically not a very good idea to play f3s in these lines because e3 gets weak. But as you can see here, well, the pieces are just so tied down. We can play f3, open up the f file, and well, we're the one who's going to actually be benefiting this time. Pawn to g5 got played. f3, rook to g6, trying to get the rook over here and attack. Well, take our time. Rook a to d1. Pawn takes, rook takes, queen to c2. Of course, attacking the rook over here. No need to worry. Rook d2. Queen to c3. Pawn to d6. Rook to a6. Again, black is trying to find something to do over here. This poor bishop. Oof, I just feel bad looking at it. And the knight can't really move in anywhere, or else we will play d7 and break through. And if we break through, the c pawn will be queening very fast. e4, you can see white is just slowly just pushing him back here. Queen c1 check. Rook f1. Queen c3. Queen to d5. Knight to f6, and here, well, a nice final tactic. Here it was white to move and win. Can you find the final blow in this position? All right, hopefully push pause, hopefully try to figure it out. Here it was the beautiful rook takes on f6, and there's just no good move here. Black goes ahead and resigns. Wait a second, why did they resign? Well, simple chess, let's take a look. What happens if rook takes on f6? Well, here we just get a simple fork with bishop to e5. Don't worry about the checks over here. If the check happens, the rook just slides back. Here, the rook will be falling. What's wrong with queen takes on f6? Well, if queen takes on f6, it's almost the same kind of story. You can play pawn to d7 in this position to get the pawn across the board. Or you can be mean like the computer and play something like bishop e5 here, and after queen e6, play b5, and just keep pushing forward here. It's really, in this kind of position, the rooks are actually worth a lot less because, well, the pawns are all trapping them, right? When you have rooks, you need to make pawn trades to open up the files and diagonals. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember, when you're playing the London system versus the King's Indian defense, remember, go queenside attack. That's going to be your best bet. I'll be going into some key ideas and more of these videos. We'll see you in the next one.